Hey guys, what is up? It is Spooky Noodles, and I am here with a writing vlog. Okay, so here's what I have to say first of all. So I recorded this very long video talking about stuff you guys probably wouldn't want to hear. And before I uploaded it to YouTube, I thought, is this really the content I want to put on my channel? And after a while thinking about it, I was like, no, I don't want to post this stuff to my channel. So, oh, and by the way, if you hear stuff going on in the background, they're doing construction downstairs, so I apologize. I don't know if you can even hear me at the moment, but if you can, I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyways, I posted this long slog of a video that you guys probably would not have wanted to watch, and I feel like it just didn't fit the bill with my channel, so I decided not to post it. It was over an hour long, and it took forever to actually, put the music, attach the music to it, and throw in images and cuts and stuff like that. I don't cut, but you know what I mean. It was over an hour long, and I eventually decided not to upload it. And I'll tell you why in a second. So, I first went on to talk about my writing. So, I'm very slow lately. I haven't been reading and writing in over 4 days. Well, 5 days today. I've just felt like crap. If you don't know, I'll keep this brief, not like I did in my last video where I went on a little bit of a tangent, but I have chronic depression, and it sometimes does, I'll just out of nowhere be sad, and it sucks. And it's not one of those depressions where I don't feel anything, it's quite the opposite. I feel a lot, and everything gets to me, and I do feel empty, but I just, I don't want to get into it. I have chronic depression, that's all you really need to know. And it's been affecting my writing and reading as of late. I just don't find any joy in the things I like, so I've been having issues dealing with that. I've been having issues writing and reading, and I've tried to do other things to keep my mind off of the depression, but hasn't been working, so I don't know. I did write a little bit yesterday, and I wrote maybe a sentence today. I wrote 254 words, so not a lot was written yesterday. But anything is better than nothing, right? So, yeah. But, yeah, that's basically it, honestly. Writing, I have, my story has been edited. My one story, Chuea Centipede. And that's the first novella in my little coupled novellas that are being formed into one book. They're very short novellas, and everyone keeps telling me just sell them on their own, and I'm like, I just don't feel right selling this for 99 cents or whatever I'm gonna sell it for. Probably $2, $2.99 probably is what I'm gonna sell it for, just like Gray Matter. But I don't feel like releasing one story. I just don't think it's worth it, like I don't think like people are gonna flock to it. I mean, I'm not saying anyone's gonna flock to this next book, and this is one of the things I've been dealing with lately, is feeling like a failure. I've been feeling like I'm letting a lot of people down with this next book. I've been trying to get it released, at least the pre-order out soon, but things that are out of my control, like my editor's going, well, she's going at her own pace, and because I'm so laid back, I get kind of shoved to the side for people who are in a rush. So my work gets put aside while they work on other people's stuff, and because of that, I have to wait because I'm a good person, I guess. Not a good person per se, but a patient person. And yeah, but my editor says she's going to be working on The Burden of Knowledge next after she does some editing for someone else. She's gonna move on to Burden of Knowledge, and yeah. And then my cover artist is working on Gray Matters 2 cover, and he said that that's his next commission. So I'm kind of like the next for both the editor and the artist. Like I'm on the next on the list. So yeah, but as soon as she edits The Burden of Knowledge, I'm going to put it up on Reedsy, which is a self formatting website, which works very well. And I really dig Reedsy a lot, but I don't know if people judge because of it or not. I'm not sure, but I already put Shueia Centipede up on Reedsy, and as soon as I get The Burden of Knowledge edited, I'll put that into the book, and then I will do a little bit of formatting myself, as in like get the dedication done, the epigraph done, which actually are kind of already done, but I'm gonna go over them and make sure they're, correct. I have the about the author, the copyright page, so I just need to check and make sure everything is a-okay. But I'm just waiting on the editor at this point. So whenever she's done with The Burden of Knowledge, that's when I will probably post it up for sale. I probably won't do a pre-order, honestly, because I am way too impatient. I just want to sell my book right away. And I think when I actually start selling like full-blown novellas and novels, I think I will do pre-orders, but with the first 2 books, I think I'm just gonna let them be for sale. I don't know. But yeah, feeling like a failure to everybody is just it's kind of a burden on my writing. I have a lot of stories I want to write, and it just feels like I'm letting people down because I don't feel like writing at the moment. And it sucks because I really feel like I could be a good writer if I put the work in, but most of the time I get into these type of moods where I don't feel like writing or reading because I find little joy in it, So I'm gonna work on it today and see if I can get anywhere with it. And yeah. But that's like one thing out of 3 things that are bothering me at the moment. The other thing is that I may have diabetes, and every time I eat something with sugar or carbs in it, I pass out. And it's been scaring me a lot lately. I don't want to have diabetes like my dad, but I am going down that route, and I need to change my life soon. Because I'm a big boy at the moment, and I really have to change my ways. But that's another thing, and the fear of failure, the diabetes thing, and this is everybody's problem, I guess, but girls. Girls are hard to talk to lately. Not like it matters. I don't care about being alone or anything like that. I don't know, it'd be nice to talk to someone at least, but no one really wants to talk to me, and I feel kind of gross because of it. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyways, those are 3 things that are on my mind lately, and girls, the fear of failure, and diabetes. Those 3 things have put me into this tailspin of a mood, and for the past 5 days, I've just felt tired and not wanting to do anything, so... But it's okay. It only affected my writing a little bit. 5 days or something. I can make up 5 days easily. I mean, I've done it before where I wrote 30,000 words in one day, which I think is impressive. To other people, it might not be that great, but for me, it's an amazing feeling when I actually get to writing and I write and write and write. It's just an amazing feeling. I feel like they just called my name, but I don't know if I heard correctly or not. Guess not. But yeah, I have a little bit of sorry, my nose itches. I have those things going on, and I just really don't want to let people down with this next book, and I feel like I'm going to, because these are, like, the Chwaya Centipede is the first story I ever wrote, and I recently went back and edited it, like, did a quick little scan through it and tried to fix the ending, so I didn't really focus on the grammar part of everything, but I did focus on the ending a lot because the ending sucked, and I think I made a better ending. So, and it was recently edited, and I didn't realize how much grammatical? I can't, the word's there, but it's not going into my brain, and it's not going from my brain to my mouth. Grammatical errors? Grammar errors, you know what I mean. Grammatical, I really can't talk today. A lot of those errors, and it's no big deal, but it's just kind of blows to see how much my editor had to work this time around, because my rating's been getting better and better and better, and I've been seeing her edits get less and less and less, you know, and that's a great feeling, knowing that my grammar is improving. But then I kind of got thrown for a loop because I didn't even think about editing Chwaya Centipede that much. I forgot that it was an older story, so there probably is a lot of grammar issues with it. I just kind of scanned through it and got to the end and then redid the ending. That's all I really did. So I really should have looked it over before I sent it over to the editor, because I probably could have saved her some hair pulling. Because there was a few times back in the day I had a lot of issues with going from first person to third person a lot. Like, I'd be writing the story in first person, and then I'll all of a sudden then Max jumped into the car, and it's like, but you're Max. Who's Max? You're Max. Why are you saying it like that? You know, or the opposite. I'll be writing in third person, and then I'll write, I did this, and it's like, there is no I, and it's not from first person, so why did you write that? Like, I had a lot of those stupid errors back in the day, and that's like 2.5, 3 years ago when I started writing and reading. I've dramatically improved. I rarely have, I don't have those mistakes anymore, and the fact that I let a story go to my editor that wasn't edited, like like the future Nick, like the present Nick, I should say, didn't look it over at past Nick's work. And yeah, I think I'm gonna write a foreword for this book, or an afterword, explaining that the Chwaya Centipede was the first story I ever wrote, and that it was not impressive at first, but I just wanted to release it kind of to like show how much I've improved, because the Burden of Knowledge, I think, is really good, and it's my most recent finished novella. I'm working on a bunch of stuff now, but much longer stuff too. Like I said, Triad is 16,254 words, I think I said. And then Take Me From Here is like 17,000 words. And then I have Symbiotic, which is dramatic. Like it's crazy how much I have written for Symbiotic, but Symbiotic is like 56,000 words, I think. So I have a lot of longer stuff in the works. I'm also trying to write short stories for my short story collection, Gray Matter 2. And I kind of, I guess, overwhelmed myself with all this stuff because I kind of stacked my plate with food, and now I can't eat it all. You know, like my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Well, that's kind of the same thing with writing. Like I'm taking on all these ideas and trying to write them all at once, and my brain's struggling to do that. So yeah, I don't want to drag this video on for much longer, but I just want to say that there's like Triad, for instance, is a story that I've been really working on. Really, like, I've been working really hard on Triad, and I got a really badass cover for it. And I can't wait to release that book, but I'm not even close to finished with it. Like, I probably have at least another 10 to 20,000 words to go. Wait, is that right? No, at least 10 to 20,000 words to go. I like to think, because I'm at 16, so I think I'm gonna finish around 36,000 words, I think, and that would be short of a novel, so that would be a novella, which is cool. I really want to release a long novella, because the 2 novellas I'm releasing right now, or well, when the editor finishes editing, I'm going to release those novellas, and they're just 2 short novellas, but too long to make it into the Gray Matter short story collection. And yeah, it's got something in my eye, guys. Probably a James hair. James sheds like crazy, dude. My dog doesn't shed because she is an Airedale, so she has like hair, and it curls, and it doesn't fall out. She's adorable. She's like literally the only thing getting me through this depression at the moment. She's cute. I like her. She's awesome. Anyways, yeah, that's just kind of the state I've been in lately. I've been depressed and haven't been wanting to write and read, even though I have a lot of reviews to review or do. So I want to say here, I guess, I apologize to those authors who I said I do reviews for and then haven't done them yet. I'm working very hard to get these stories read. And yeah, I'm currently reading Until Summer Comes Around by Glenn Ralph. I'm 47%, 47% through it. And then I'm going to go ahead and read another book, which I'm excited about. What was it called? Invisible Chains. And I can't wait to read it. It's gonna be an awesome one. And then I have a book called Don't Fuck with the Coloreds, which I'm excited for. And yeah. Writing. What else? I started a new story called Quarantine Quentin. It's a short story about a guy during the pandemic, and he's kind of an outcast, kind of like, what do you want to call it? An introvert. He keeps to himself and plays video games. He works from home. He gets everything delivered to his house, so he has no reason to ever leave his confines of his home until one day his internet goes down. And that's all I'm gonna say, because that's all I know so far. Literally, I think I'm gonna make it a fun little zombie journey to a donut shop, I don't really know. Like, the whole reason that he's leaving the house is for food. And I think it's hilarious, and I can't wait to write it. Like, there's this whole zombie apocalypse going on while this guy is playing video games. It's hilarious. Don't take the idea. It's all for an anthology I want to get into, because I really want to get my work out there and have people like my stuff. And the best way to do that is to get your name out there, is to get into some anthologies. So I was thinking about writing Quarantine Quentin, or QQ. QQ. And I think I have another short story in the works called The Urn. And it's kind of funny. I own a shirt that says cremation. You earned it. And I love that shirt. But that's kind of where I got the idea for this story, from a shirt. Basically, this hardworking, job-oriented woman, she's just kind of, never had time for kids because, she's a hardworking woman, and she's kind of a bitch. And, to be honest. And one day she receives an urn in the mail. Now, it's not your average package, obviously. You can't actually send an urn through the mail. I'm pretty sure you can't actually do that. So this box, it doesn't have any return address. It doesn't even have her address on it. It just is a box on her porch. And she opens it, and it turns out to be an urn, obviously. And then the story is just her trying to basically get rid of it. I haven't really decided what happens yet, but I think it's a funny story. Another funny story. I'm writing a few funny stories. I don't know why they're funny, but I wrote a funny one a few months ago. I think in February I wrote this story. It might have been January. I can't remember. This one girl was like, having a contest. You write a short story and she'll pick the best one and give a prize to. She didn't end up giving a prize to anybody, but it was fun to write anyways. And I called it Roadkill, and it's basically about this guy who's a really big jerk, and he gloats about how he eats what he kills. So, yeah. It's kind of about, sorry, it's kind of about this, like, rabid possums, or radiated rabid possums. Maybe that's what I'll call it, radiated, or radiated rabies, or something like that. That would be a better name for it. See, I'm trying to make the names of my stories cooler, because one thing I think someone said to me was that the names of the stories were kind of lame in Grey Matter 1. Like, they're just kind of to the point. Like The Pale Man, the story's about a pale man. Morbidio's about Morbidio, although I like that one. Morbidio's my favorite story in that collection. It's also the longest story in that collection. So, yeah, that's why I like it so much. I put a lot of work into Morbidio. And then just to find out that there's a movie, basically, that the premise is basically from. But, again, I like to think that I did it in my own way, and I had no clue about the existence of this movie in the first place. But, it was an original idea from me. Even though it's been done before, like, I did it in my own way. So, it's not the same, but it has an interesting premise that is similar to mine. In the movies They Live, is it a John Carpenter film? I can't remember if it's a John Carpenter film or not. But the movies They Live, it features this wrestling guy, and he's a badass. And I enjoyed the movie a lot. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time. When I found out about it, everyone's like, I like your version of They Live, and I was like, what's They Live? And then I checked it out, and it was amazing, and I'm like, wow, this is good. Similar, but not the same, Like, my story is about a VHS tape that, like, reveals the true identity of people around him, and the true identity of the people around him are monsters. And in They Live, the guy finds glasses, and when he puts them on, he can see the people for the aliens they are, or the monsters they are. And yeah, other than that though, it's different, Mine's very short, and it's to the point, and there's a badass murder in it. I like to think I did a really good job with the murder scene, which I'm not gonna tell you who gets murdered, but it can be kind of crushing. It can let's just say it involves a bowling ball, and I love the way I introduced the bowling ball. Like, it's just kind of like one of those things that I didn't even think about. It's kind of foreshadowing a little bit, but I wrote the scene like the VHS tape weighed as much as the bowling ball in his closet. So then later on, when he goes to his closet, you're not really thinking about the bowling ball, I guess. But then he comes out with the bowling ball, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Morbidio was a lot of fun to write, is my point. And if I were to say my second favorite story I wrote in that collection, I would have to say The Dog Napper. I liked writing The Dog Napper a lot. The Dog Napper and The Portal in the Woods were stories that I wrote in between classes. Like, I wrote No Smoking in my first class, and then I wrote Portal in the Woods, then The Dog Napper, then the second class happened and I wrote Highway to Hell. So those are, the order of when I wrote those stories. But yeah, the first story I ever wrote was Chue Centipede, and you guys will be seeing that soon. I'll do an afterword and explain what this book is really. Like, if people are like, oh, this first story's trash, Chue Centipede sucks, I totally expect that. Well, I'll explain why it's in the book. Because they're just too long to be in the short story collection, but too short to be novellas on their own. So they're paired together into a book, and I think it's a good pairing. Like, one's a subterranean horror, the other is a cosmic horror. So I think they mesh pretty well. They're kind of sci-fi horror, if you will. Not really, but kind of, I do a good job writing the burden of knowledge. The Chue Centipede was I was very inspired to write the Chue Centipede. So you see a lot of love in that story. Like, I put my heart and soul into that story. It was my first story ever written. So put a lot of work into the Chue Centipede, but it doesn't mean it's good. In fact, some of my best stories are the ones that I put little effort into, Like, a lot of people said that The Pale Man was good, and the story behind I'll tell you the story behind The Pale Man in a second here, but Pale Man was just something I wrote, and basically it was a failure, and I decided to make it into a short story, and it worked a lot better as a short story than what I originally had planned for it. And basically, The Pale Man was the introduction to a book idea that I had. The Pale Man was just an introduction to this bigger thing. I don't remember what I called it, but it's basically my version of It. by Stephen King. It's about this group of friends. One of the boys' one of the boys' cousin goes missing, and or a neighborhood kid goes missing. I'm not sure what I did with it, what the idea was initially, but basically, neighborhood girl goes missing, and the three boys. I'm not sure how many boys I originally had planned. The boys basically try to find this monster, or find out what happened to this little girl, and there was this whole house that was burned down and in their neighborhood, and they believe that it's like quarantined off from the neighbors, and like there's like a giant fence around the whole thing, and they believe that maybe she snuck into the house or something took her into the house. So they try to investigate the burnt down house, and they come face to face with the Pale Man, and then there's this whole fight scene just like it, and I just felt like it was too much like it, you know? The only original scene would be that opening introduction. So I was like, you know what, let's just take that introduction and make it into a short story. So I did that, and threw it into the collection, and people kind of liked it. I was surprised about how much people enjoyed that story. I thought it would be like the story no one liked. Like if there was a story someone wouldn't like, I would probably go with The Pale Man or My Son Heard Santa on the Roof. Like those are the two stories I think people wouldn't like in this collection, and I was wrong. A lot of people like The Pale Man. Not everyone, because I don't know everyone that has read the book, but a lot of people like The Pale Man, and I don't want to give kudos to myself or anything like that, but I do give myself, I guess, a little credit where credit's due, because I worked pretty hard on that, and it was going to be this huge novel, and or novella at least, and no. Same with Morbidio. Morbidio was supposed to be a book as well, but I just felt like it was better trimmed down to a short story. Because when you read it and you're reading the end of that story, that was really the beginning of it all. There was supposed to be so much more to Morbidio, and I kind of got bummed out when I trimmed it to a short story. I mean, I could always make a part 2 to that story and put it in Gray Matter 2, but I just don't know. But yeah, Morbidio was supposed to be a book as well as The Pale Man. Morbidio ends with the Irishman helping him cover up the murder, or pick up the pieces, if you will. And yeah, and it's kind of like this Irish guy is introduced. It's like, why was he even introduced in the first place? Well, there was supposed to be more to the story. Like the Irish guy and the main character were supposed to go on and basically fight this huge like monster or something like that. I hadn't really planned it all out, but I only got to the like first chapter, and the first chapter was very long, and then I was like, I think I got burnt out and I didn't know what to do, so I just decided to make it a short story. So, and it works well as a short story. I like it a lot. Morbidio I put a lot of work into. Like, you know how I said the Chwaya Centipede I put everything into? Like, I put like a lot into that story. Well, Morbidio is like the same. Like, it's the second most hard, or how do I word this? I put a lot of work into Morbidio, like the most I ever put into a story, except for the Chwaya Centipede, which was the first story I ever wrote. Of course, you're gonna put as much effort as you can into the first story you ever write. Not saying it's good, like I said, it's just I put a lot of effort into it. And I put a lot of effort into Morbidio, and it shows, I guess. I like to think it shows. Because, yeah. But other than that, all the other stories were supposed to be short stories. You know, you got the dog napper, which was supposed to have a cameo of the old lady. But I just, like, I wrote the cameo in where the old lady walks in on the guy getting mauled by the alien dog. And she just snaps her fingers and the dog follows her out the door. But I was like, you know, I like the ending where it's ominous, like it's like the dog alien thing just snaps on her, or snaps on the Ken, and I liked where I ended that story right there. So I just basically deleted like 200 words where the old lady comes into the door and snaps her fingers. Yeah, a lot of stories were like that where like my son heard Santa on the roof. Like, I just wrote that as a Krampus story. I just wanted to write something quick on Christmas and get it narrated by someone on YouTube. And I wrote it a little bit too late for them to do the narration. One channel did end up doing it after Christmas, but other than that, no one really wanted to do it because it was so short. It's like maybe 4 or 5 minutes narration. But I did put some work into it, so or maybe not that one, but yeah, the Portal in the Woods was just a Portal in the Woods. I guess I was going to write him like trying to find the portal when he grew up, you know, but I thought that was dumb, so I just left it as a short story. The dog napper was, you know, other than the old lady snapping her fingers, that was it really. I don't remember the order of these stories, but Morbidio was supposed to be a novel or a novella. Pale Man was supposed to be a novel or a novella. Highway to Hell was a short story, just plain out short story. Trunk or Treat was something that I didn't think would have as much love as it did. But in a way, it's kind of like the Portal in the Woods, but better, I like to think. Because I feel like the relationship between the two friends in the Portal in the Woods was good, but I think the relationships between the boys in Trunk or Treat were more realistic. At least that's what I think. So, what else is there in this story collection? Portal in the Woods, Dog Napper, Morbidio. No Smoking. Yeah, that was just a short story. Nothing really to comment there. So yeah. But I've been running on for 37 minutes just talking about random stuff. I gotta answer that in a second. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, this writing vlog. It wasn't as quick as I thought it would be. But yeah. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you have a spooky night. Stay safe, guys. Peace out. Bye, guys.